TechSearcher.com presents boring day jobs musicians had before they became famous. Number 1. Kurt Cobain, janitor. In order to finance his passion for music, Kurt Cobain started working as a janitor. Chris Novoselic, bassist of Nirvana, addressed to Cobain's day job, saying that Cobain was a man who would never clean his kitchen or take out the garbage, or do any of those chores, but he was not a lazy person. Basically, he cleaned toilets and that's how he paid for the demo tape. Number 2. David Bowie, butcher's delivery boy. In the 1960s, when David Bowie was only 13 years old, he took a job as a butcher's delivery boy to help pay for saxophone lessons with legendary sax player Ronnie Ross. Ronnie Ross and David Bowie were reunited 11 years later when Ronnie Ross played the solo saxophone part on Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side, which was produced by none other than one David Bowie. Number 3. Noel Gallagher, roadie for Inspiral Carpets. Prior to jamming with Oasis, Noel Gallagher used to be a roadie for an English alternative rock band by the name of Inspiral Carpets. Gallagher said that he was the best dressed roadie in the history of music. He used to wear white jeans and never got them dirty. To his words, he was just too quick for the dirt. He said that without Oasis, he'd still be a roadie to this day. He would have been out there in an ill-fitting black t-shirt with a tattoo and a scruffy Converse trainers, because that is what all roadies wear. Number 4. Ozzy Osbourne, abattoir. Before Ozzy became the Prince of Darkness, he used to work in an abattoir. Ozzy had to slice open the cow carcasses and get all the gunk out of their stomachs. He said he used to vomit each and every day, as the smell was something else. We get it, you don't become the Prince of Darkness by taking the easy road, right? Number 5. Kelly Okereke, cinema attendant. Back in 2005, Silent Alarm was voted Album of the Year by NME, yet it still wasn't enough to pay Kelly's bills. He used to sell popcorn and snacks at the Corzon Cinema in Soho until the album was released. Number 6. Brenda Flowers, bellboy. Brenda Flowers used to work as a bellboy at the Gold Coast Casino in Las Vegas. Flowers, being a huge Morrissey fan, once went through a bag which belonged to Morrissey's guitarist, Boz Burrour. He admitted that he shouldn't have done it and that he still feels bad, but he went through one of them. He said he just wanted to see what Boz was listening to. Number 7. Mick Jagger, hospital porter. Mick Jagger, frontman of the Rolling Stones, one of the biggest bands in the history of rock and roll and music, used to be a porter in a hospital. Jagger worked part-time as a porter in Bexley Psychiatric Hospital when he was 18 years old. An unlikely place for romance, but Jagger actually lost his virginity in this hospital to a nurse in a store cupboard. They say you always remember your first. Number 8. Colin Meloy, author. Yes, we know, this is not your typical boring day job, but Colin Meloy is actually also a published author. Back in 2010, Meloy closed a free book deal with HarperCollins for Wildwood Chronicles, a young adult adventure series set in Portland, Oregon. Not a bad extension of his band's folklore influence. Number 9. Debbie Harry, Playboy Bunny. In the early 1970s, Blondie singer Debbie Harry worked as a Playboy Bunny at New York's legendary Playboy Club. While she worked there, she developed a novel way of dealing with the dirty old man. She said she would fool around with drugs and was consequently often half asleep. Prior to that, she also worked as a secretary at BBC Radio's office for 1 year and later as a waitress at Max's Kansas City and a go-go dancer in a Union City, New Jersey discotheque. Busy girl. Number 10. Freddie Mercury, market stall owner. Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest singers and performers in the history of music, used to own and run a stall in Kensington Market, which opened in the summer of 1969. Mercury sold his own artwork as well as second-hand clothes. Roger Taylor, drummer of Queen, used to help him on the stall. Mercury kept up running the stall even after Queen released their first album. Number 11. Jarvis Cocker, fishmonger. A self-described shrinking violet as a teen, Jarvis Cocker's mother sent him off to work at a fishmonger's in the hope that the rough lads who worked there would offer him some character building. His main job was scrubbing the crabs. I guess being a musician is much better. Number 12. JayZ, drug dealer. During the 1980s, JayZ worked as a drug dealer on the streets of New York selling crack cocaine. He said that selling drugs on the street helped him to succeed later in life, as it taught him everything about budgets. According to him, to be in a drug deal, you need to know what you can spend, what you need to re-up. Number 13. Rod Stewart Gravedigger. For a short period of time, Rod Stewart worked as a gravedigger at the Highgate Cemetery in London. Although, according to his autobiography, his main job was to mark out plots rather than actually dig the graves himself. He also worked in a funeral parlor in North Finchley. Number 14. Kanye West, Gap sales assistant. In his teens, when Kanye West was young, he used to work at Gap. He even raps about the experience of working there on the song Spaceship. Let's go back to the Gap, look at my check, wasn't no scratch. Oh, now they love Kanye, let's put them all in front of the store. Saw him on break next to the no smoking sign with a blunt and a mall. So I quit, you're welcome. Number 15. Patti Smith, toy factory worker. Patti Smith used to work in a toy factory fixing boxes and testing toys. Yet, it doesn't seem she had the best of time there. She said the other women in the factory did horrible things to her and gang up on her, even stick her head in a toilet full of piss. We're glad those times are way behind her now. Number 16. Keith Richards, bellboy. From the ages of 8 to 13, Keith Richards would watch his dad play tennis. Gradually, Keith got roped in to act as ballboy and eventually worked for a while at his local tennis club, fetching balls for players at weekends. Number 17. Kelly's, bartender. During the late 1990s, Kelly's worked as a bartender to help her through performing arts high school. Let's just say that the bar sold plenty of milkshakes and not alcohol, okay? You know, Kelly's being a teen and all at that time. Number 18. Kevin Parker, law clerk. Before Kevin Parker became a musician, he was working as a law clerk in Perth, Australia. He actually wrote some of his first songs while bored and traveling around for work delivering court documents. When music began to take over and his work began to slack, he was threatened with being fired and instead decided to quit by himself. Number 19. Morrissey, Inland Revenue worker. Stephen Morrissey worked briefly for the Inland Revenue. During this time, he wrote many letters to the NME with one particular letter ending like this. P.S. I work for the Inland Revenue. Am I still allowed to be a punk? Number 20. Courtney Love, stripper. Courtney Love used to be a stripper at Jumbo's Clown Room in Hollywood. The money she earned helped her fund her music. She said that stripping funded her band and that there was a lot of temptation in terms of drugs back then. To her words, she was like, okay, when I make $1 million, then I'll do all the drugs I want, which I did, by the way. Number 21. Tom Waits, pizza house cook. In the mid-1960s, Tom Waits got a dishwashing job in Napoleon Pizza House in San Diego and was promptly promoted to pizza cook. Waits spent the ghost of Saturday night after hours at Napoleon's Pizza House about his experience of working there. Number 22. Jack White, upholsterer. After training as an apprentice, Jack White opened up his own upholstery shop in Detroit. The name of the shop was Third Main Upholstery and carried the slogan, "Your furniture's not dead." These days, Jack White owns a record label called Third Main Records with the slogan, "Your turntable's not dead." Number 23. The Long Blondes, librarians. In the early days of the band, 4 out of 5 members of the Sheffield indie popsters, the Long Blondes, worked as librarians to pay the bills. Now, they don't have to be quiet anymore. Number 24. Ian Curtis, civil servant. Ian Curtis, who sadly didn't get to live very long, used to work as a civil servant in an unemployment office in between gigs of his band, Joy Division. Number 25. Calvin Harris, shelf stacker. Back in 2007, Calvin used to stack shelf displays when he was working in Dumfries branch of Marks & Spencer. His debut album was written and produced in his home studio between shifts. It's a good thing he didn't use that time to just relax. Number 26. Art Garfunkel, math teacher. Art Garfunkel of Simon & Garfunkel used to work as a math teacher when Bridge Over Troubled Water went to number 1 and topped the charts. The record went on to sell more than 3 million copies in the UK alone. You think he still offers private lessons these days? Number 27. Eddie Vedder, night security guard. Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder used to work as a security guard at the La Valencia Hotel. He may not have been the best security guard, as rumor has it that Vedder was fired from the job for playing the guitar instead of doing his actual security job. At least he knew what he wanted to do next and succeeded big time. Number 28. Johnny Cash, military codebreaker. Johnny Cash enlisted in the US Air Force in 1950, and during his time in the Army, he was assigned to the Cryptographic Intelligence Unit broke military codes. Seems like an interesting job, and Cash was also really good at it. Number 29. Gene Simmons, assistant to editor at Glamour and Vogue. Gene Simmons worked at various jobs before becoming a famous musician with Kiss. Among his jobs, Simmons worked as a teacher at elementary school, was a lifeguard at a hotel pool, and an editorial assistant for fashion magazines. It's a good thing he found something he's really good at and enjoys doing. Number 30. Pink, worked at McDonald's. And with this important info, about 1,000,000 15-year-old teenagers working at McDonald's have a new dream. Just ask Pink, who is part of the statistics and made it big time. Number 31. Cyndi Lauper, dog kennel cleaner and ear piercer. Before Cyndi started having fun, she used to be a dog kennel cleaner and ear piercer. Do you too wonder like me if she pierced dogs' ears or human ones? I mean, it's Cyndi Lauper, you know? Number 32. Elvis Presley, truck driver. Before he became the king, Elvis was a truck driver working for the Crown Electric Company in Memphis. Number 33. Snoop Dogg, drug dealer and a grocery shop worker. Snoop Dogg did a good job serving the citizens of Long Beach, California. He either sold them drugs or helped them pick their fruits and vegetables. Good dog. Number 34. Moby, golf caddy. Moby used to work as a golf caddy, which is actually not a bad job at all if you think about it. Think he's a good golfer as well? Number 35. Fergie, voiceover artist. The Black Eyed Peas band member used to be a voiceover artist. Her famous one was as the voice of Sally in some Charlie Brown cartoons. Number 36. Elvis Costello, data entry clerk. Before playing the guitar and writing songs, Elvis Costello used the computer a lot at Elizabeth Arden and even worked at a bank. Talk about boring, at least now someone else in the bank manages his millions and millions of dollars. Number 37. Chris Cornell, fish handler. Former Soundgarden band member Chris Cornell used to work for a seafood wholesaler before becoming famous. He spent his days cleaning up the slime and fish guts at fish markets. We all miss you, Chris, wherever you are now. Number 38. Madonna, worked at Dunkin' Donuts. You think she ate too many donuts before looking in a mirror and telling herself, no more, from now on I'll become the queen of pop music and stay fit. Today she can buy all the donuts that she or her kids want. Number 39. Greg Graffin, paleontologist. Gregory Walter Graffin from Bad Religion has a PhD and worked as a paleontologist. He kept his professional and music lives separate and so held a number of teaching jobs including at Cornell University and UCLA while still performing with the band. You know who also was a paleontologist? Ross from France. Number 40. Gwen Stefani, worked at Dairy Queen. Before her No Doubts days, Gwen Stefani used to work at Dairy Queen serving soft serve. Later on, she moved to another job and worked as a salesperson at a department store. Number 31. Sting, tax officer, bus conductor, construction laborer, and a teacher. I guess you have to do it all before you decide you want to write songs, sing, and perform, right? After all this string of jobs, Sting finally understood that being a rock star and a famous musician is much more rewarding. Number 32. James Brown, shoe shiner, cat unpicker, and a car washer. If that's not enough, the godfather of soul also used to work in a pool hall. Number 43. Frank Bello, waiter. Anthrax band member Frank Bello worked as a waiter, but was he any good? He claims he got crappy tips and that he is very fortunate he was able to make a living from music. I guess we should all be so lucky. Number 44. Sebastian Bach, landscaper. Skid Row's frontman Sebastian Bach worked as a landscaper but apparently held a job for only 2 weeks before getting fired for singing too loudly at a job. As if it's a crime, right? Try telling it to him now. Number 45. Gautier, library assistant. Reading is always good and a great source of knowledge. Even in today's internet era, you can always use books. Just ask Gautier for some help choosing a book. Number 36. Eminem, short order cook and a dishwasher. I bet these jobs gave him a lot of material to rap about. Number 47. Tony Iommi, sheet metal worker. It seems heavy metal was always close to Iommi's heart, and it was in this job as a sheet metal worker where he chopped off the end of one of his fingers. He is able to play his unique playing style thanks to a prosthetic fingertip. Number 38. Serj Tankian, software company owner. It's true, System of a Down band member Serj Tankian graduated from California State University with a degree in business and marketing and formed his own company which made proprietary vertical industry modular accounting software. Number 49. Tom Araya, respiratory therapist. Araya from the band Slayer used to work in hospitals, helping people who suffered asthma and other conditions. Now that's impressive. Number 50. Linus Morris, envelope stuffer. Seriously? Is that a thing? I guess so. Number 51. B.B. King, tractor driver. This was one of King's first permanent jobs and he actually loved this job a lot. Number 52. Beyoncé Knowles, hair salon worker. Beyoncé used to work at her mom's salon, sweeping up hair of various customers before becoming a major star that she is today. Thank God for that, or else she never would have met JayZ, unless he decided to get a haircut at a specific salon. Number 53. Jon Bon Jovi, Christmas decorations assembler. I don't know what a Christmas decoration assembler is, just as you probably have no idea what it is, but that was his job. Maybe it was a seasonal job only? Number 54. Jeff Buckley, hotel receptionist. Buckley worked the front desk at LA's Magic Hotel for 6 years. Can we get a presidential suite? Number 55. Kim Deal, biochemical lab technician. Kim Deal of the Pixies went to 7 different colleges without graduating from a single one. Eventually, she got an associate degree in biology and worked in a biochemical lab. Could be worse. Number 56. Chuck Berry, beautician and a robber. I know, it's a weird combo, but here's how it went. Berry served for 3 years in Angola Intermediate Reformatory for an armed robbery and later on trained as a beautician for a short period of time. Now you get it. Number 57. Boy George, grocery bagger. Sounds a bit shocking, right? You too would have been shocked if Boy George bagged your groceries. Number 58. Bon Scott, postman. Bon Scott used to be a postman and wasn't bad at all in his job. Besides being a postman, he also worked as a barman, which I guess suited him more. Number 59. Jack Black, telemarketer. Now with caller ID, we probably wouldn't have answered such a call, but back then how cool would it have been to get a call from Jack Black, and I bet we would have bought whatever he sold. Number 60. Lance Bass, snowblower. I suppose that means he only worked half a year at a time at best, which gave him plenty of spare time to develop a music career in the sun. Thank you for watching, we hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, please like, share, comment on our videos and subscribe to our channel. We also recommend you visit our site at ticksearcher.com for interesting entertaining facts, stories, articles and more on your favorite bands and musicians. Also, if you're looking to go to a concert anytime soon, our site is a great place to compare ticket prices to music concerts, shows, festivals and much more. So check it out and let us know what you think. Thanks again, have a great day, rock on!